Something deeply unsettling is unfolding across America. Entire neighborhoods are fading away in slow motion. Homes sit empty, yards overgrown, and streets once alive with laughter now echo with silence. The housing market isn't just cooling, it's crumbling from within. Builders have disappeared. Buyers have vanished. Prices are collapsing faster than most dare to admit. Families are fleeing cities that once symbolized opportunity. Jobs are evaporating, local economies are cracking, and the American dream is being burned down, one foreclosure at a time. What's coming isn't a mild downturn, it's devastation. A financial storm so fierce it will redefine what home means in America. Number 10, Washington. Washington's housing market isn't cooling down, it's rotting from the inside out. For years, tech-fueled optimism turned Seattle, Bellevue, and Tacoma into booming metropolises. Amazon, Microsoft, and Boeing workers flooded in, sending home prices into the stratosphere, with medians now soaring above $800,000 across many King County neighborhoods. But when the tech giants started cutting tens of thousands of jobs and remote work began reversing, the dream vanished overnight. Housing inventory has surged 21% year over year, while sales have dropped to their lowest point since 2011. Buyers are gone, sellers are panicking, and the fractures are spreading fast. With mortgage rates averaging 6.8%, the typical Seattle buyer now faces $4,800 per month in payments, up from $2,900 just 3 years ago. Property taxes jumped 14%, and maintenance costs are up 18%, adding another $1,600 monthly to already stretched budgets. Even high-income tech employees are quietly defaulting, and nearly 1 in 5 sellers are slashing prices by tens of thousands just to get a showing. The deeper problem? Washington's entire economy leans dangerously on tech and aerospace, two industries that crash hard in downturns. Boeing's supply chain slowdown, Amazon's hiring freeze, and mass startup layoffs have gutted local demand. Meanwhile, crime and homelessness continue to rise, driving families out of Seattle's once coveted neighborhoods. In Spokane, prices fell 3.2% in a single quarter, while Yakima saw listings double with barely any buyers showing up. When the next recession hits, Washington's fragile housing ecosystem could implode faster than anyone expects. Once powered by tech optimism, the evergreen state now faces tech abandonment. With rising costs, stagnant population, remote work pullbacks, and fading confidence, Washington is a ticking time bomb. When its tech bubble finally bursts, there won't be a soft landing, just a free fall into financial chaos. Number 9. Utah. Utah's decade-long housing miracle is melting faster than its mountain snowpack. For years, the Silicon Slopes, Lee Draper Provo, promised unstoppable growth fueled by booming tech. But in 2025, that promise has been cracked. Once among the hottest markets in the nation, Utah saw median prices surge past $560,000, a 70% increase since 2019. Now, with tech layoffs piling up and mortgage rates above 6.5%, buyers have disappeared almost overnight. Sales are down 19%, inventory up 28%, flooding the market with homes that sit untouched for months. The average Salt Lake City home now stays on the market 71 days, up from 29 during the boom. Builders are canceling projects left and right, and 26% of listings have already cut prices, clear signs of desperation. The root problem? Affordability. Household income hasn't kept pace. The average mortgage now eats up 42% of family income, while utilities and maintenance, up 17% this year, push budgets to the breaking point. Water shortages and worsening air quality are making the state less livable. Population growth, once Utah's biggest strength, is slowing as people flee high costs and overcrowding. And when tech sneezes, Utah catches the full-blown flu. Adobe, eBay, and countless startups are trimming staff or relocating. As demand dries up and speculators flee, the Silicon Slopes are becoming housing sinkholes. If recession strikes, Utah's inflated market could collapse entirely. A state once praised for innovation and stability now teeters on the edge of a housing meltdown. Number 8. Nevada. Nevada's housing boom was built on illusion, a glittering mirage of borrowed money and boundless optimism. For years, Las Vegas stood as the poster child of endless growth. Bright lights, non-stop construction, and investors flipping homes faster than blackjack dealers shuffle cards. But when the economy slows and tourism fades, the mirage turns back into desert. In 2025, Nevada's median home price sits around $455,000, yet sales have plunged 18% year over year, while listings have skyrocketed 23%. Over 15,000 homes now sit unsold, stretching across suburbs like Henderson and North Las Vegas, where for sale signs line entire streets. The issue isn't just price, it's affordability. With mortgage rates near 6.7%, average payments top $3,600 per month, while insurance in Clark County has spiked 22% in a single year. Casino layoffs, shrinking tourism, and fewer conventions are draining Nevada's lifeblood, an economy built almost entirely on people spending money they no longer have. When visitors vanish, tip money dries up, service jobs disappear, and mortgages go unpaid. Investors who once treated Vegas real estate like a roulette table are now running for the exits. Nearly 24% of sellers have slashed prices and homes linger on the market for 68 days, the longest stretch since 2012. Builders are drowning in oversupply. Once they couldn't build fast enough, now they're offering $30,000 incentives just to move unsold units. Nevada's collapse mirrors 2008, but this time, inflation and climate stress make recovery even harder. Water shortages in southern Nevada are tightening restrictions, raising costs, and scaring off developers. Vegas may still glow at night, but beneath that neon lies a graveyard of broken investments. When America sneezes, Nevada doesn't catch a cold, it catches pneumonia. The bubble is bursting, and there's no jackpot big enough to save it. Number 7. Louisiana. Louisiana's housing market isn't just sinking, it's drowning. The state is being battered from every direction: hurricanes, insurance chaos, migration loss, and an economy stuck in reverse. In 2025, median home prices hover around $265,000, but that's where the good news ends. Insurance premiums have exploded 50% in 2 years, forcing countless homeowners to walk away. Dozens of insurers have pulled out entirely, leaving residents paying over $6,000 a year for minimal coverage or none at all. In New Orleans and Lake Charles, inventory has jumped 31%, but sales have collapsed. Homes sit 85 days on the market, the longest in the South, and nearly 29% of sellers are cutting prices to attract buyers who aren't coming. Why? Because Louisiana's economy, oil, gas, and shipping, is under siege. Energy volatility, port automation, and depopulation are hollowing out entire communities. Baton Rouge lost 10,000 residents in 3 years. New Orleans faces crime, collapsing infrastructure, and flood risk so severe that developers are abandoning projects mid-construction. Maintenance costs are up 19%, as heat, humidity, and storms relentlessly destroy aging homes. Combine that with stagnant wages, and Louisiana becomes one of America's most fragile markets. Even federal aid can't save homeowners drowning in debt and water damage. As climate change accelerates, the state's future looks literally and financially underwater. Rising seas threaten coastal parishes like Terrebonne and Plaquemines, while the insurance collapse threatens the rest. Louisiana, once known for resilience, now faces economic evacuation. When the housing crash hits full force, it won't just lose property value, it'll lose entire zip codes to the tide. Number 6. Colorado. For years, Colorado's housing market seemed immune to gravity. Denver, Boulder, and Fort Collins became playgrounds for investors, remote workers, and adventure seekers willing to pay anything for mountain living. But in 2025, gravity has finally taken hold. The median home price has hit $580, and average mortgage payments now exceed $3,950 per month, up nearly 70% since 2020. That affordability crisis is driving a quiet exodus. Inventory has jumped 30%, with luxury homes flooding the market as wealthy buyers pull back. In Aspen and Vail, million-dollar chalets now sit buried under snow, unsold for months. Investor demand has dried up, and new luxury construction has plunged 40% since 2023. The cracks run deeper than housing. Tourism, once a $14 billion industry, is faltering. Wildfires, unstable snowfall, and inflation are cutting into travel revenue. Agricultural areas face water shortages, while smaller cities like Pueblo and Grand Junction are grappling with homelessness and job losses. Living costs have surged across the board, maintenance up 17%, utilities up 11%, and record-high property taxes. Even renters are fleeing, vacancies are up 22%, the highest in a decade. Colorado once sold itself as freedom, fresh air, and opportunity. Now, That dream is buried under economic snowdrifts. When the housing crash accelerates, Colorado's market will fall like an avalanche. Fast, destructive, and unstoppable. The state that once symbolized mountain luxury is now teetering on a financial cliff. Number 5. Arizona. Arizona's housing boom was supposed to last forever. For years, it looked unstoppable. Phoenix, Tucson, and Scottsdale became magnets for Californians chasing sunshine and cheaper living. But that dream is now evaporating under the desert sun. In 2025, the median price sits near $435,000, but affordability has collapsed. Electric bills now average $420 per month, water costs are soaring, and reservoirs are drying up. The affordable desert has become one of America's most expensive places to live. Inventory has jumped 25% year over year, and 27% of listings have cut prices as buyers disappear. Insurance companies are abandoning the state due to wildfire and flood risks, leaving homeowners stranded. In Maricopa County alone, more than 18,000 homes sit unsold, double last summer's inventory. Mortgage rates near 6.7% have pushed payments above $3,200, pricing out the middle class and retirees who once fueled Arizona's rise. And the heat, it's relentless. Arizona now logs 35 days a year above 110 Fahrenheit, shattering records. Climate migration has reversed. People are leaving due to unlivable summers, drought restrictions, and surging insurance costs. Once booming cities like Buckeye and Goodyear now have half-finished developments frozen in time. Arizona's economy, heavily tied to construction and migration, is slowing sharply. When people stop moving in, the entire structure collapses. The retirees and remote workers who once saved Arizona's market are now all selling at once. The Arizona dream, sunshine, low taxes, affordable homes, is dead. What's left is an overheated, overvalued market on the brink of implosion. When the next economic storm hits, Arizona won't just cool off, it'll crash headfirst into the desert floor. Number 4. Hawaii. Hawaii may be paradise on postcards, but in real life, it's financial purgatory. The islands now represent America's most unsustainable housing market, where fantasy collides with reality. In 2025, the median home price is a staggering $875,000, while the average household income is just $88,000, a 10-to-1 price-to-income ratio, one of the worst in U.S. history. For most residents, homeownership isn't a dream, it's a myth. Tourism, Hawaii's economic backbone, has weakened under inflation and global slowdown. Visitor numbers are down 14%, and short-term rentals that once printed money now sit empty. As tourism fades, so does the fragile demand that held the housing market together. Insurance premiums are exploding, up 35% in 2 years, due to rising seas and worsening storms. On Maui and Oahu, luxury condos that once sold in bidding wars now linger for 120 days or more. Home values have already slipped 3.5% since January, and analysts warn of double-digit losses if the global economy worsens. Even renters can't catch a break. Average Honolulu rent exceeds $2,600, while utilities and groceries add another $1,200 per month. Everything, from nails to paint, costs extra because of isolation. Maintenance expenses have risen 19%, and insurance averages $6,000 annually for modest coastal homes. Add in aging infrastructure and constant wildfire or flood threats, and paradise becomes pressure. As recession looms, Hawaii's market won't just soften, it'll implode. Locals are leaving in record numbers, replaced by absentee owners and empty luxury shells. In Hawaii, the American dream ends where the ocean begins, because paradise is no longer affordable for the people who call it home. Number 3. Texas. Texas was once the land of opportunity. No income tax, cheap homes, booming jobs. But in 2025, that promise has flipped into a massive financial sinkhole. Median home prices have soared to $360,000, while affordability has evaporated. The state faces an estimated $32 billion drop in housing value, with Austin, Dallas, and Houston leading the fall. During the pandemic, Texans watched home prices jump 60%, fueled by migration and speculation. Now that bubble is deflating fast. Austin's median price has dropped 8%, while inventory has jumped 26%, the highest in a decade. Insurance premiums are up 40%, especially along hurricane-prone coasts, and property taxes in Dallas County rose 13% in a single year. Even the powerful energy sector is shaking. Oil prices are unstable, renewables are disrupting markets, and manufacturing layoffs are spreading. Construction. once Texas's lifeblood, is stalling as costs rise and demand fades. Intense summer heat is making the state less livable, with average utility bills now over $420 per month. Insurance companies are pulling out, and maintenance costs have climbed 18%. Mortgage rates near 6.8% mean Austin buyers now face $3,400 monthly payments. For middle-class families, it's game over. Texas built its boom on endless migration and cheap energy, but both are fading. As affordability collapses and climate risks intensify, that foundation is cracking wide open. Home values in major metros could fall another 10 to 15% by 2026. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the financial wreckage. The Lone Star State isn't shining anymore. It's flickering under the weight of heat, debt, and overdevelopment. Number 2, California. California's housing market is collapsing under the weight of its own pride. For decades, it embodied the American dream. Beaches, sunshine, million-dollar homes. Now it's the heart of America's housing nightmare. The median home price statewide stands at $760,000, while average income is about $91,000, a ratio of 8:1 that simply doesn't work. In 2025 alone, California lost $16 billion in home value. San Francisco, Los Angeles, and San Diego are leading the plunge. Over 30% of listings have cut prices, and homes now sit for 78 days, the longest stretch since 2009. Mortgage rates above 6.6% have pushed payments past $5,200 monthly, locking out nearly every first-time buyer. Renters fare no better. Los Angeles rents now average $2,900, forcing many into debt or exile. But this crisis runs deeper than money. California faces a perfect storm: homelessness, crime, wildfires, drought, and insurance collapse, and mass exodus. In 2024 alone, 400,000 residents fled the state, marking a third straight year of population decline. Big employers like Tesla, Oracle, and Chevron have already left for cheaper states. Insurance companies are retreating from wildfire-prone zones, leaving thousands unable to sell or insure their homes. Maintenance and utilities are up 19%. Property taxes add thousands more, and the promised affordable housing reforms remain years behind schedule and billions underfunded. The truth? California built a housing system for millionaires, not families. Now the bubble is cracking at every fault line. When the next economic quake hits, the Golden State won't shimmer. It'll shatter. Number 1, Florida. Florida's illusion of paradise is breaking apart faster than its coastline. Once the crown jewel of post-pandemic migration, the Sunshine State is now ground zero for America's next housing crash. The median home price sits around $410,000, but insurance, taxes, and climate costs are strangling homeowners. In 2025 alone, Florida lost $10 billion in housing value, with sharp drops in Cape Coral, Tampa, and Naples. Inventory surged 31%, and 1 in 4 listings now feature price cuts. Homes sit for 72 days, double last year's average. The insurance crisis is catastrophic. Premiums have soared 300% since 2020, and major insurers, including Farmers and AAA, have abandoned the state entirely. Some homeowners now pay over $8,000 a year for basic coverage, making Florida the most expensive insurance market in America. Add in property taxes and utilities, and monthly housing costs exceed $4,000, double the national average. But the real danger isn't just financial, it's environmental. Rising seas, saltwater intrusion, and Category 4 hurricanes are transforming entire neighborhoods into uninsurable wastelands. Coastal erosion is wiping out billions in property, and extreme heat, what we're seeing now, is only the beginning. The next phase of this collapse could hit even harder, and it won't stop at housing. The financial markets, the job sector, even the banking system, everything is connected. So don't just watch this, prepare for what's next. Because this isn't just a housing crash, it's a financial reckoning that will rewrite the American dream.